I have the good fortune of being second to last speaker on today's agenda, the last day of the last panel of the last conference. So I sympathize with my colleague who was last yesterday. Walt, it could have been worse. Yes, sir. Seriously, on behalf of the USAID mission in Afghanistan, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be with you all today. I will say that I've been impressed with the level of vision and tenacity and commitment many of you have and have expressed in person. Coming by the USAID table 22, I'm energized by that commitment. I'd like to encourage those of you I haven't met to come by today as well. USAID published a study of the construction sector late last year, and we'll have copies out there. The organizers have been kind enough to make those available. And by the way, thanks to the organizers, I've been to a lot of these, and you guys do a good job, so I appreciate the hospitality. Let's see. Is this it? Okay, got it. I'm just going to go over some of the highlights of the study. USAID typically uses what is called a value chain approach. If you'll see on the slide all of the different subsectors involved in the construction value chain. And within that value chain, hundreds and thousands of jobs are represented. And the topic of today's panel is as we know, stabilization. And we believe that stabilization involves putting people to work. And so our approach in private sector development is finding ways to put people back to work within this case, within that value chain. So what we do is look at constraints within that value chain and design our programs to address them. From the study, we concluded that there are still a significant amount of opportunities that are within those sectors, particularly in the areas of raw material production. For example, Afghan producers in the marble sector only capture about 12% of the marble used in the local market. We also believe that the many challenges can actually be turned into opportunities. For example, now in its infancy, we've talked about the financial services sector, private equity firms, and insurance bonding, and I'm glad to hear that there'll be a follow-on event to address those things. Very important, and we have programs that are supporting those initiatives as well. New financing facilities are increasingly becoming available and have the potential to fill the void unfortunately left by the banking sector, perhaps, and SME financing. We're working with those banks and building that capacity again. Opportunities related to skills training and workforce development to meet the demand for higher skilled labor continue to exist. I was very excited to meet my friends from Karwan Private University and learn about some of their innovative ideas about meeting skills training's demand and the government's initiative to be involved in skills training. From our study, we also learned that the impact of the construction sector on the Afghan GDP has been drastically understated by as much as 100%. We believe that the construction sector will continue to play an extremely important role in future growth in the Afghan economy. Although we anticipate substantial reductions in donor spending going forward in areas of vertical structures and roads, we remain convinced that the shift to the private sector, led by investment in housing, industrial development, and we've seen that in the plans for New Kabul as a great example, will fuel the continued growth in that sector. Recent surge in land values and housing prices is a reflection of the perceived opportunity in the private role, as construction costs have remained relatively stable. They've gone up some. Now, we don't want to paint an entirely rosy picture. We see that there is urgent need in some of these areas, and we're responding to those needs. And you'll see on the slide, and I mentioned already, the need for skills and labor development, increased use in construction materials. We also very much support an Afghan first policy. So we want to see those materials produced in Afghanistan and in all of those points along the value chain. And you see the other two there. Now we also, the study also identified that some of the challenges that we've heard others talk about that I've already mentioned this morning, other constraints to capturing greater value in the construction sector. As an international donor, USAID, as I said, works to define assistance programs that can address these challenges in order to unlock the growth potential of the sector. There are over 3,000 construction firms that currently operate in Afghanistan, we found. And our hope is to see more of these firms benefit from future economic growth based on the constructors within the construction sector value chain. We realize that procurement processes in the past have been too complex, and I've heard many of you express that in our meetings previously. Too high value in comparison to local capacity for many of the smaller firms to participate. And that there continues to be a lack of adequate financing options available to our firms. USAID will continue to work with our counterparts to find appropriate solutions which can adequately address these constraints. Now, just move to some of the previous support that we've had. I think others have mentioned the ASMED program. The ASMED program supported specific sectors in the marble sector, construction materials sector, and others through grants. And I want to mention that there'll be a follow-on program to the ASMED program that will continue to support some of those smaller firms. So we look forward to working with our counterparts, ISA and ACCI and others, the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, as our counterparts in the efforts to work with firms. And also, as a result of our own experience in facing challenges associated with our work in major infrastructure initiatives, USAID has realized the need to address these constraints with new programs facing this sector. The newly awarded Afghanistan Workforce Development Program is providing the necessary training to obtain much-needed skills, which are currently being outsourced to foreign laborers. We want to see Afghans get those jobs. We'll support private sector firms in building capacity for improved workforce development. That means working with firms that actually deliver workforce trainings to build their capacity to continue to train Afghan workers. And I mentioned the new program that's in procurement that I can't talk much about now, but you'll see more about that coming out. Also, to address financial needs, the Financial Access for Investment in the Development of Afghanistan program, or FIDA program, is supporting improved access to finance for many firms interested in better access to financing mechanisms. And the project is looking for solutions to the limited availability of mortgage financing. And we're looking at, we mentioned the need for creative solutions to operation and management, and how to pay for that future maintenance of roads. So USAID, as you see, as I said, is committed to Afghan First strategy that encourages greater participation for Afghan firms. We'll continue to work with Afghan firms to improve competitiveness of goods and services produced to better compete in the international community. And I'm just not going to go into these, but you see there some of the ways that we're stressing Afghan First participation with procurement with goods, with services from Afghan firms. But we want to make sure that in that process we build the competitiveness of those firms to be able to compete on the international market on a level playing field. Now, as far as the way ahead in infrastructure, the USAID has been very active in road construction and in other areas. I want to just highlight some of the projects that we're committed to finishing. We don't intend to start any new large infrastructure initiatives. We underscore our priority for 4 that are ongoing. And these are the Kandahar Helmand Power Program. We intend to rehabilitate and upgrade the the Kandahar city system, rehabilitate critical substations, and that includes replacement of the everything's critical, it sounds like, diesel generators, and install 3 turbines at the Kajaki Dam. Also the Sheboygan Gas Development Project, we've heard others talk about that. We believe that energy and electrification is really the key to unlocking the real capacity of Afghanistan. So that's where our focus is going forward. So again, that support program is in procurement, and our goal is to provide the kind of assistance to get the gas out of the ground to build an energy production facility that can then fuel industrial growth in northern Afghanistan and then beyond. We expect that to be completed by 2015, and we'll encourage private sector investment in those opportunities. Also, you've heard people talk about the PTEC program, Power Transmission, Expansion, and Connectivity. Over a $500 million project to expand the capacity of the Northeast Power System, NEPS, which is Afghanistan's primary power grid, expanded by 500 kilometers over 4 years along the Ring Road and then down in eastern Afghanistan. We also intend to work with DABs on budget. I'm talking as if USAID will do that. Our strategy and goal is very much to work on budget with our Afghan counterparts and ministries, and that will be the case here. Goals will be to introduce more affordable energy. DABS has made a lot of progress, as we heard this morning, improving their distribution and collection system, and we want to work closely with DABS to continue to build their capacity in that regard. And then finally, the Coast Gardez Road that we've been working on for quite some time. We've met with a number of challenges. Just to add that we intend to see that to completion, and we'll not let that rest until it's done. Also, USAID is committed to ensuring that the investments that we've made in infrastructure and construction will be sustained. As we anticipate declining spending in the sector, we'll work with the Afghan Ministry of Public Works to find solutions to improving O&M efficiencies, improve capacity. We'll also look at innovative ways to facilitate private sector participation in future projects through public-private partnerships and innovative financing mechanisms. The Salam Tunnel was mentioned. That's a key infrastructure project that we're able to work with the ministry to be creative with. The future of the construction sector is clearly bright as we see international donor participation transitioning to greater private sector leadership. USAID looks forward, and the rest of the mission look forward to partnering with the government of Afghanistan, the international donor community, and the private sector in supporting the growth of a vibrant and thriving construction sector and private sector overall. So thank you very much, and turn it back over to our panel. Thank you.
Thank you.